we've got an amazing interview for you. This individual, again, you need to be in a quiet spot taking some copious notes, because what he's about to share with you will absolutely blow your mind. This is an individual who has built his company from the early stages of growth to a mammoth operation with 50 different offices, 1,300 employees. He is able to help his clients secure over $250 billion a year in business, and you're going to hear a little bit about LSI in just a minute. But Sean Slatter is our guest in the studio. I mean, he is a world traveler. He is internationally known. He is an avid skier. He's an old motocross guy like me, so we've got that in common. And, I am thrilled to have you in the studio with us, Sean.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
This is fantastic. Not to mention the Davis Arts Council and all the good stuff you did there, and we were talking about that.
Yes.
Well, it is. Hey, do me a favor. Tell folks a little bit about your business and your history there.
Sure. Our company's a consulting firm focused on business development, and we have been providing guidance to companies on how to grow their business for 50 years.
Wow.
This next year we celebrate our 50-year anniversary. And the work that we've done has really been a catalyst for us to help governments and demographics as well. And for about 20 years of the last 50, we've been working with federal, state, and municipal entities to develop jobs and create vertical markets in a geography. That's evolved into us helping entities with creating jobs specifically for demographics as well. So it's a part of the business that we really didn't anticipate, but I love it. It's really fun.
That is fantastic. Okay, Now, Sean, your business has been around for 50 years.
Right.
You're not that old.
So that's right, but I have owned it for 30 years.
Have you? Wow.
The company was founded by 5 original principals, and they had had this idea for this company. I joined the company 30 years ago and then acquired the company from the original 5 principals shortly after I joined the company, and really changed the direction of the company after that time.
Good for you. Well, I know it's exploded. Here's what I want to know. I mean, you do business. I mean, 40 of the 50 top companies in the country are your clients. How'd you swing that?
I think that that's a secret of our business, that working with these Fortune 500 companies who have determined business development really is not our niche. And like accounting or legal services, they've determined we could outsource this service and increase our win rates and decrease our costs. It's really allowed them to bring in these amazing individuals to help them win new business and achieve their objectives.
Right. So how do you teach them to do that? How do you consult with them to go out there and gather this new business? Because I know what it's like in big companies. Listen, in small companies, it's a little more nimble and quick, right? But big companies are sometimes like they're the Bismarck. Trying to get them to make any kind of an about face or a turn in one direction or another is a monumental task.
That's right.
How have you navigated that?
We've started with the objective. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And a company like an IBM or an AT&T, their objective might be, we want you to help us capture $5 billion of new business. And we work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses as well, where they are saying, we want to get to $5 million of new business.
Yeah.
And so starting with that target and then building a strategy around the target has really been the key, and we've scaled it. We know how to work with a company trying to get to a $5 million revenue target, and we know how to work with an AT&T trying to get to their billions of dollars of target.
You get to be selective at this stage of the game. I mean, in terms of who you work with. How do you pick them? So if a company comes to you, whether they're small, medium, or big, how do you select them as much as they're selecting you?
We have about 400 active engagements at any one time. And so our team is really looking for a relationship with a company where we can help them achieve their potential and help them achieve their growth objectives. And so I think that's really a criteria that we use in selecting our clients, and we want to grow with our clients. And we don't want to work with companies and individuals that are difficult to work with and that are unwilling to be flexible and work collaboratively with our team.
Right.
I mean, that's a big part of the success of our organization.
Collaboration is huge. It's a big part of our focus, and we've talked about it a lot during the summit and so forth.
Yes.
You know, have you ever worked with those companies who are not collaborative, and what's the result?
It's miserable. And we've walked away from some of our clients that have been large clients that were impossible to work with, and we've made those decisions. That's tough, and it's tough when you have your sales organization and your engagement team and your CFO saying, we're going to walk away from this revenue. And we do that. We've done that quite a bit, actually.
Tell me, what's the most important thing in selecting a client, in determining whether or not you're going to be able to help them? Is it their product, their process, their system, or their relationship?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It really is looking at a criteria of, is it feasible? Are they, so often we walk into these strategy meetings where the shareholders, the board, the leadership team have come up with this arbitrary target it's unobtainable.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. And so I think a lot of times, if there's a consensus on what the objective is and that it's obtainable, it's achievable, that's going to drive a lot of the other things.
Right.
I mean, just having that discussion early on is a key part of our selection criteria for our client base.
That's excellent. You know, I've asked many of the folks we've had conversations with, what are the top 3 things that you do in your business to really drive revenue and increase profits? I'd love to hear your response on that. What are the top 3 things?
We build an opportunity pipeline, which it's really the conduit to our growth. And we follow our own guidance and strategy where we have an objective that we can afford and can achieve, and we work around that strategy, and we always hit it. So we build an opportunity pipeline. We qualify the opportunities in that pipeline. I think part of growth is being opportunistic, where you are recognizing that opportunity and putting resources against the opportunity to capture that business.
Yeah.
That's a big part of this, that something may happen that you didn't anticipate, and we've chased business for years sometimes, and it's never happened.
Yeah.
And yet it used to be that, if there's something that was not in the pipeline that or in the strategy that came along and we had to shift focus and put resources against that opportunity, we may not have done that in the past.
Right.
And so being flexible and recognizing this is a real opportunity, we need to go after this, and giving the team the resources they need to capture that business. I think that's been a lot of our success. When I look back in the last 30 years, we have a lot of clients that have been with us since I acquired the company.
Yeah.
And now they've become fixtures at really the fabric of our organization. We couldn't imagine some of these clients not being with us. They've been with us that long. And it was a stretch when we first looked at these clients that in some cases it was going to be difficult. We were going to need to spend a lot of money to service these accounts, and we did it, and it worked.
You ever have anxiety about making a presentation to one of the big accounts?
No, I love it.
Yeah.
That's really my talent. Over the years, I knew that I was very young when I acquired the company, and I knew that I was going to be walking into a boardroom with really talented people that were older and more experienced and had PhDs, and that if I was going to make this work, I needed to perfect that, and I really got good at it. It's been hard this last year where we have not done a lot of in-person meetings.
Right.
And we've done these presentations virtually. And it has been very difficult for me. Being in a room in a boardroom with 10 people, I'm great at that.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of a laptop, trying to get a team excited about their potential and how we can help them achieve their potential. And I'm looking at a PowerPoint presentation on my laptop. That's tough.
Yeah.
And it's taken me, it took me a long time. It's taken me several months to be in a position where I'm thinking, okay, I really can have an influence like I was in the same room with these individuals. But yet, I've never had anxiety. I've never had any problem getting up and talking to a room full of people. That has never bothered me since I was a kid.
So the competency that you developed for your business, how did that give you confidence to make those presentations without anxiety?
I believed in it so much. I saw it. I saw early on, I saw the power of what we were doing, and it was transformational, where we would take companies from $10 million in revenue to $10 billion in revenue. And I saw what that did. I saw the impact that we had in building jobs around these depressed areas, in urban areas and in rural areas, and in Native American reservations. It was amazing.
Wow.
So I think a lot of it was I saw the potential, and it was easy. It was easy to talk with these teams who wanted to see the same thing happen and help them achieve.
I can see the twinkle in your eyes. You start to talk about that, man. That's what fires you up. Do me a favor.
This was our business.
Without having to name the company,
Yeah.
I'd love for you to share maybe a couple of stories, top 2 stories of companies you helped to go from, just getting their legs underneath them and starting to generate some business to phenomenal success.
Yeah, there's so many. Let me tell you this story, which is really, it's a company you've never heard of before, I would guess. Early on, after I had acquired the company, this team came in to see us, and they were referred to us by Boeing. And they were a very small company that was the company was based in Anchorage, Alaska, but most of their business was on the North Slope of Alaska. It was owned by Alaska Native members. All of the shareholders were Alaska Native. And they said, we want to make this company into something significant.
Yeah.
Company is Arctic Slope Regional Corporation, ASRC. And we've worked with this company for almost 30 years. When we first started working with them, they had very little revenue. Most of it was land holdings and work on the oil pipeline. Today they're $5 billion in revenue, all owned by Alaska Native members. That was an incredible story. We still have a dozen people that are working with them on a daily basis to help them achieve their objectives. Most of their business has moved from Anchorage to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And our Washington, D.C. team is working with them daily on how do you execute this now?
Right.
How do you continue to grow? So that was just remarkable. And then we also worked with a large company called General Dynamics Land Systems in Michigan. And they're a Fortune 500 company, and this group was going to close. Wow. And they're in the middle of Detroit, and the leader called me and said, if you don't help us win this business, they're going to shut our plant down. we worked with them for 2 years to help them win a $34 billion contract. And they immediately hired 3,000 people. And that was really the catalyst for us in seeing, we didn't even recognize it at the time. It was the governor of Michigan that brought us in and said, we want you to replicate this.
Yeah.
We've got such a problem in Detroit. We need your help in building up businesses and replicating what you did with General Dynamics. And we're still working with the state of Michigan today as a result of that contract that we helped General Dynamics win all those years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, well, General Dynamics is definitely not just a small little company anymore.
No, that's right.
But that's amazing. So when you go in, you've got a unique talent for helping companies understand how to craft their offers, or I should say their RFPs, for getting new business. How did you become an expert in that field so that you could be so good at helping your clients go out and get new business?
We brought in some amazing people. It really was not my vision. There was a lot of foundation that was laid before I joined the company.
Yeah.
I just saw the potential of this. I saw it work and was passionate about it.
So in other words,
it really
Sean,
was not me.
So what I'm hearing, because that's my same story. Listen, you got to have a vision. You got to have a vision. You got to have a passion for what you're doing and be excited about it. So you hired your weakness. You found individuals who could do what you didn't, and that team has made it all work.
Amazing. We've got an amazing team that put this together.
Now, what would you say to a brand new entrepreneur? They're just getting a start, and they're going, yeah, but I got to wear many hats. I mean, I'm the chief, bottle washer. I'm the cook. I'm the cleaner. I'm the marketer. I'm the salesperson. As they're first starting out, where maybe their resources are limited, what advice could you give to them to make the transition?
Well, I think you said it well, that when you start a business, you are going to do everything. And we've had this interesting experience that we have decided to consolidate our storage. And we pulled these files from 30 years ago, and we were going to shred them. And I just happened to pull out a file that had our billings by month in a binder. And that year I billed 3,000 hours. I was averaging, and I remember that year, and it was just a ton of work. And I think being committed is the key to this. No matter what happens, no matter what you encounter, what roadblock, what obstacle or challenge that you face, that you're committed to making this work no matter what.
Yeah.
And that you're going to put the time in to make it work. That's the key to this. We've had a lot of challenges, just like any company has, over a 50-year period of time, and the markets change, and the technology changes, and the economy changes, and COVID, and whatever it is. And it's about being committed, and that you are going to hold to your vision no matter what. And then I think, really being focused on revenue is the key to this. Identifying these opportunities that you can turn into revenue. That's what this is about.
Yeah. You're kind of the other side of life, man. You've had an amazing career. Not to say that you're done yet, because I kind of get the feel from you that you're a lot like me. I mean, retirement is maybe not like on the radar. It's you got to have stuff to do, and you want to be building and creating. But there does come a point where you're kind of on the other side of business, where now you've got the resources to give back. Talk to me about your philanthropic and charitable activities and what that's doing and what joy you get from that.
Absolutely. I've been very involved in a lot of nonprofit organizations and have a passion for building nonprofits. I love going into these organizations and seeing these teams that are just committed to what they do and helping them achieve their potential, which is very similar to our work that we do with with any business.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in, and what excites me about philanthropy, is being able to invest in in an opportunity that becomes exponential.
Mm-hmm.
We helped an organization not too long ago where we built the proposal for this grant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, we donated this time. It was, maybe $10,000 of time that we put into the capture and proposal itself. Mm-hmm. There was $1 billion grant. And that excites me, seeing that kind of return on investment where we see that kind of result. And I think philanthropy is changing to results-based. Mm-hmm. There's most of these foundations are not agreeable anymore to saying, we're just going to give you some money and good luck with this. They want to see, what are you doing with this?
Right.
What kind of return am I going to receive investing in what's important to me? And whether it's arts or human services or whatever it is.
That is fantastic. So it sounds to me what you've done to really, make a difference and create an amazing contribution. You took all the same skill set that you've developed in business over the years, and now you're helping to apply that to nonprofits so that they can get these big, massive grants.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Yep.
I mean, when you can get a sizable grant, that overcomes the effort to try to get a lot of individual donors.
Absolutely. And I tell these organizations, if you fish all day for minnows, at the end of the day, you're going to have a bucket full. But you fish for whales, at the end of the day, you're going to have a whale in your boat.
I'll tell you what, I just did a training the other day, and one of the segments of my training was all about how if you're going to be successful in sales, you need to think like a fisherman. So it's interesting you use that analogy, because it's like we got the Jordan River out here. I mean, if you go fishing all day long in the Jordan River, it doesn't matter what kind of bait you use, what kind of tackle you've got, what kind of fishing pole, doesn't matter if you're going from a little raft, out in the river or you're on the bank, all you're going to catch in that dang thing is carp.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I mean, there's nothing else. So you got to think like a fisherman if you're really going to go out there and do it. So
exactly.
That's an interesting analogy.
That's right.
It's time to go, whale hunting.
That's right.
Yes. No animals, no fish were harmed in the making of this success story,
that's
right?
Correct. That's right.
Oh, that's beautiful. If you've got to give any last word of advice, I mean, just to the folks that are kind of tuning in, they're like, you, only most of them are probably younger in their journey as far as getting their business started. Maybe they're only a year in or 2 years or 5 years into their business. What's probably the number one thing that you would tell them they needed to do to become successful and drive profits?
Well, like I said, I think being committed to having a vision, staying the course, no matter what happens, being resilient. I see a lot of really great entrepreneurs that they run when it gets tough.
Yeah.
And you're going to have pressure from your spouse saying, why are we doing this? Why are we mortgaging our house to make payroll? Why are we going months without income? Why? You're going to have that. Yeah. And having the courage and the tenacity to say, we're going to make this happen, and no matter what. And I think that is a trait of entrepreneurs that either you have it or you don't.
Right.
And that you can take a vision and run with it, regardless of what your challenge is.
That is excellent, man. Any last words of advice?
I think this has been a lot of fun, and I love what you're doing with this series. I think that this concept of building revenue, building an opportunity pipeline is oftentimes business owners forget that you've got to feed it. Your business only is successful if you can generate revenue and make a profit. And I think oftentimes entrepreneurs, they're innovative, they're creative, but that business development piece is difficult.
Yeah.
Don't neglect that.
Very good. That's excellent. One last thing I just was thinking about along those lines, because you had referenced the fact that you got to be persistent and consistent in your efforts. You kind of talked about that in your own business model. Right. I've always believed that you follow up and until they buy or die, right? One of those two things. But because of that follow-up piece is so critical. You know, you've been willing to follow through with different clients from what it sounds like for years.
That's right.
For years. How did you develop the mental framework around their initial no to keep you pushing forward to get the yes?
I would always see it before. I would always walk into a meeting saying, we're going to have this account.
Yeah.
And it may be difficult. It may be expensive. Mm-hmm. It may require a lot of creativity. We're going to do this.
Right on.
And so, yeah, I think that that's having a vision and pursuing it is so critical to the entrepreneurial process.
Yeah.
It's essential.
Well, I got to tell you, I really appreciate your time in the studio.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Some great little wisdoms there. And
absolutely.
You know what? For the folks at home, you guys heard it here. You heard it here. A no today is not a no forever. It just means not now.
That's
That's why you need to continue to be persistent.
Absolutely.
And make things happen. Yeah, Sean, I've really enjoyed our time.
I have too. Thanks. It's been a lot of fun.
And I'll look forward to more of this stuff too. You just keep changing the world in a positive way, and we'll do our part on this end.
That's great. Thank you.
Excellent.